Hello and welcome to Kim's Cozy Corner. I'm Kim. I am just doing odd jobs around the garden to clean it up and provide some much needed compost and fertilizer to some of the plants. So I figured while I was messing around in the garden, I would bring you with me. The first thing that I'm going to do is bring some life to this bed here. It's been 90 plus for over a week and it finally is cooling back off. And my beds were extremely dry. So I gave them over the last couple of days just a really deep watering to make sure that the beds are fully hydrated, I should say. And now I need to put some nitrogen back into the soil. My plants are looking light green versus that deep, healthy green that I'm used to seeing. I'm going to add mushroom compost to this bed here. And I'm going to weed along the way because the weeds are everywhere. Weeds are everywhere. So we will get this done. So I'm just going to add this mushroom compost right around the base of each of these peppers. I'll try to put the leaves back on top. The soil's nice and moist. I watered this morning using my drip irrigation. I'm going to do the same thing here in the back with these cucumbers that are not very happy at all. I like my plants to be happy. And we're just going to roll down and do the same thing on all of these other plants. Now I know these peppers are shaded a little bit in the evening, but they should be bigger than this. They have little blooms on them, so they're trying to reproduce. They're trying to put fruit on, but I want a bigger, healthier plant. I will just finish this process throughout this bed, and I will bring you back before we move on to our next task. I'm doing the same thing to these tomatoes. Little mushroom compost around the base. And I'm not doing this on all of the tomato plants, just on this bed here. They have some leaves curling on them, but it's been 90 degrees, so that's probably why the leaves are curling. But we'll just add a little bit of mushroom compost. And I didn't put mushroom compost in this bed like I did the other beds. This bed just got my traditional fertilizer, slow release. It did not get mushroom compost. Weeds, 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 and more weeds. And trees. So I am roughly at my 2-week mark since the last time I gave a liquid fertilizer. I like to do my liquid fertilizer every 7 to 10 days, and I am roughly at 14 days, 14 plus in some areas. I use whatever liquid fertilizer I can get. I prefer it to be a decent quality. I want a decent quality fertilizer, but it's going to be whatever I can get. So right now I'm using Fox Farm Grow Big liquid plant food. It's a 644. The directions are on the back on how much to use per gallon, per 2 gallons, however you're going to be mixing it. And it even tells you what you do for general feeding versus hose-in sprayers, seedlings, all of it's right here. So follow the directions when you use this, if that's the name brand you want to use, or whatever liquid fertilizer you choose to use. And then I am going to fill all of my containers. This way I don't have to get up and down as often, so I fill 3 at a time. I needed to go get my hat. For my towers, I like to fertilize, or with a liquid fertilizer, I like to use about 2 gallon, and I only put it in once. I don't wait. I don't rush it though. I'll put like 1 gallon in, I'll walk away, I'll let it slowly release into the tower, and then I'll come and put another gallon in. The one thing that you don't want to do is put it in so fast that all it does is come out the bottom, because then you're just feeding the ground. So I know for each of my towers, I need to go back and put another gallon in each. I need to take the fertilizer over to my tower as well with the strawberries in it. Strawberries need to be fertilized. They keep putting on those big, beautiful blooms, bringing in the strawberries. While I'm over here, I'll go ahead and fertilize this bed. Usually 1 container will do a whole bed. I feel like I've done a good job if I use 1 container for a bed. Onions are very heavy feeders, so you absolutely need to feed your onion. Now I just put some mushroom compost down around my onion, and now I'm coming behind it with a general, well, I don't know, I might be giving myself a bath more than I'm feeding, but this is just a general feeding. This is my garlic. I don't normally water it. I mean, it's on drip. I don't normally fertilize it. Hello. I'm just moving on to the next project. So I have blackberries here. I have thornless blackberries. And I cut these down to the ground back in February. And these are the new canes coming on, and they need some support. They are leaning all over the place. It's actually shading out my squash plant that actually has squash in it already. So we need to find a way to contain these blackberries. And these are blackberries here, but it looks like it's a different variety, and I believe it is. But we are going to find a way to contain these to keep them off of my other containers. I have some tomato cages that I no longer use, and I'm thinking, I don't know, I'm gonna see if we can figure this out. I am thinking maybe we can do something like this. What do you think? Now I have stakes. I guess I could get stakes and put on them, but they're just going to continue to produce additional shoots out the ground. So I just want them to stay in one place though. I think this is what I'm going to do. What do you think? You think it's going to hold it up? Let's try it. The question will be, can I get it in the ground? There used to be a tree here. I don't think this is going to work. I keep hitting the tree stump. Okay, here we go. Okay, I don't think I was hitting a tree stump. I think I was hitting fabric paper, which is good because that means I can get it in the ground. No, that definitely is a tree trunk. All right, we're getting somewhere. Cooking with some grease. Is that too tacky? How tacky is that? I got it up off of my plant. I have another one. There we go. Now this cage has definitely seen better days. Is that too tacky? Ah, it's gonna have to do. At the end of the season, I'm gonna buy these cheap tomato cages once they go on clearance, and I will buy really nice ones and I'll put around here so they'll be kind of fenced in and contained. That way I can continue to grow in containers right next to them. Now, every year I will cut these all the way back, so they should only get about this tall, if not just a little bit taller every year. So I still should be in good shape. Another project done. While I was on vacation, I went to this town called Maggie Valley, North Carolina. When I was a kid, we used to drive all up in the mountains of North Carolina and Tennessee, and I used to enjoy going to this town called Maggie Valley. They used to have an amusement park, which was up on top of a mountain. It was called Ghost Town in the Sky. It doesn't exist anymore. I believe a fire took it out many, many years ago. When I mean many, like more than 20 years ago. A fire took it out probably 40 years ago. I can't even remember, a long time ago. They started it back up again. I went to it again as an adult, 27 years ago as an adult. I got to go back to Ghost Town in the Sky. Only reason I remember how long ago it was is because I was pregnant with my daughter. You get on a chairlift and it takes you up this mountain, and at the top of the mountain there's an old-timey like ghost town with, you know, saloons and gunfights, you know, in the middle of the streets, and then they had some amusement rides. They talked a lot about the Cherokee Indian and the Cherokee tradition, because this is close to the Cherokee reservation. So all of this is in the same area. Cherokee, Maggie Valley, it's about 30 miles from Gatlinburg. But I grew up spending all of my time in these areas. And so I had a chance to ride through there again last week when I was on vacation. And while I was there, I found some really cool, unique shops. And of course, I had to check them out, right? I'm looking for a deal. So I found this one shop where they had homemade clay pots. So that's not what's in the box. It's a clay pot. And they have been buying these clay pots from the same family for over 100 years. So the same family, and they're somewhere out of Georgia. I don't know where they are, but that particular shop has been buying clay pots for them. And they said this is the third generation of the family that are making these by hand. And I mean, is it, you know, fantastic? You know, is it perfectly, you know, designed? No imperfections? No, but that's not what I'm looking for. I like that handmade, homemade, where someone put their heart and soul into it versus a machine put their time into it. And so this is exactly what I was looking for. And so I found this clay pot where they just put a little fluted edge on it and put this little design going around. And a little pot like this in the store probably would cost me, I don't know, 15, 20 bucks or more. I don't know. But I got this little pot for $8.95. It's written right on the bottom. And it's beautiful. It's perfect. And it's going to go perfectly in my little corner garden in the back. Kim's Cozy Corner Garden. That's where it's going to go. I got to find something nice to put in it though. Now, I don't know if it can handle the winters up here though. So I'm going to definitely need to pull it out of the garden before winter hits, because I don't want it to get moisture inside and it freeze and contracts and bust my beautiful art. But then I got another one. So I got one and I'm like, oh, when's the next time I'm going to get back to Maggie Valley? It's going to be a while. So I went ahead and purchased one just a little bit larger. Now this has the same, you know, little design going around the sides, but it's just got a plain lip folded over at the top. Again, very simple clay pot, but beautiful in and of itself. And I just love these. Now this one, let's see how much this one cost me. This was $12.95, so $13 for that homemade pot. What did I say? $8.95 for this pot. Aren't they beautiful? Not that I needed another container, right? But it wasn't about the needing of a container, but it was about the beauty and the art and knowing the history and the past and the passion that went into producing these containers. So same family in Georgia, third generation now, making these by hand and selling them at craft places like this little shop I found in Maggie Valley. So now I got to find something to put in these. And I don't know what. And at first I got to find some potting soil. I'm out. I have no potting soil. I got to find some potting soil. But after I find the potting soil, what are we going to put in them though? You know, I was thinking about maybe a bush cucumber. I could put some stakes in here and have it climb up the bush cucumber. I have some volunteer tomatoes growing in the garden. Not that I need another tomato plant with over 125. I don't know. But let's find a home for it in the garden, and then we'll need to find some potting soil. So first, let's find a home. I'm thinking about something over in this area here. Let's see. How about pots right on the edge here? This might work. If we put the pots right here, they're not level. And they're not going to get a lot of sun right here. So what if I move them to this side? And if I put it right here, that just might work. Or how about here? Oh, it's not level. It's not going to be level, so we're going to have to find a level place to put them to make them nice, level, comfortable, and at home. I want them to be a part of this space. I'll find a place and I'll come back and I'll show you where we end up putting them. Okay, I found some potting soil. I had to dig way back in the shed, and my mother was hiding it from me so she could use it for flowers. But I found the secret stash and I have potting soil. So I filled my 2 pots up with potting soil, but now I need to find something to put in them. And I'm just not sure which plants to choose from. I have a whole bunch of them here. So let's figure out what's the right one. Now my White Wonder cucumber is not coming in. So do I want to do a White Wonder? I'm having very poor germination with my White Wonders. All right, so this is just lettuce. I'm thinking cucumbers. I think I really want to put cucumbers in there. All right, in the large one, I'm putting White Wonder. I'm going to put the White Wonder cucumber, even though I haven't had much luck. So I have 2 different brands. So I have MI Gardeners brand, and I have this one that I got from one of the big box stores. But they're both White Wonder. I'm going to put seeds from both of them in there. I don't know which one's good, which one's bad, but can't hurt, right? So I'll put that in the one pot. And then the smaller pot, I'm thinking maybe flowers. I got plenty of flowers out there too, but I really just don't need anything else. So I'm going to transplant some flowers into that pot. Now I have a few flowers that I kind of just dumped a whole bunch of seeds. I'll show you. And they can't stay like that. So I have marigolds, I have gazinias, I have nasturtiums, all just randomly planted into this pot. That's not going to work. So I'm going to have to take some things out of that pot. So let's use that. We'll get some of those plants out of there and move those into the small pot. So we have a plan. Let's go do that. In this pot, I have a little bit of everything. The big one in the middle is a gazania, something like that. It hasn't started blooming yet, but it only blooms in the daytime, and at night they close. It's very beautiful. And then I have some nasturtiums, which they can't stay there. And then I have marigolds here, and that's a whole lot in a small space. Same thing on this side, a whole bunch in a small space. So I think we should take some of the marigolds out. Okay, I'm taking the marigolds out. I'm going to take the marigolds from this side out because I do have the nasturtiums over here. And then hopefully, once these get a little bigger, I'll spread these out throughout the garden as well. So let's go move those into the pots. So here are my 2 pots. I have my soil already in the pots, and I put some fertilizer on top. I haven't mixed it in yet, so let's get that mixed in. Now, this soil that I found, I don't know how long my mom's been hiding that, but it was deep, deep, deep into the back of the shed, covered up with all kinds of stuff. She definitely was hiding it from me, but I found it. Finders keepers. So for the marigolds, I literally just pulled up soil and all, so I could make sure that I get all the roots. And I have 6 plants here, which really is too many. But I'm going to stuff them in here anyway, in the small pot. Now the soil is very dry, so we're going to have to add some moisture to this quickly. And if it doesn't survive, I'll put some vegetables in it. It's that simple. In this larger pot, I'm putting the white wonder in here. I'm going to put 4 seeds, and we will keep the stronger of the seeds, of course. And I didn't soak them or anything like that. And I'm putting them in very dry soil. It's not like I didn't already have a problem growing these seeds. Now, if these seeds come up the way I hope they will, I'm going to put some stakes just like these back here. They're tan. I'm going to put stakes in here, and hopefully they'll catch onto those stakes and wind their way around this pot and come up the pot, or a tomato trellis. We'll find something to trellis them up if the cucumbers actually germinate. But let's get some water on these, and we are done with another project.